So you came up with a great idea, but it didn't quite turn out how you wanted it to. And now it's time to try again. This is Woven Fabric Scrap Necklace Attempt 2. So let's dig into our scrap stashes again. Same as last time, I am looking for fabric strips. And while I was pretty indiscriminate with my fabric choice last time concerning the color and the width of my fabric scraps, this time I have a much clearer idea of what type of fabric scraps I need to make my vision come to life. So today I'm looking for black fabric scraps specifically. And I'm including a lot more shorter fabric strips this time because I want my necklace to be a little bit smaller. Well, a lot smaller. And I'm also finding several of the strips I cut last time will work for this project as well. And that's great because it's just less work for me to do. I also found this jacquard fabric that's kind of stiff, and I'm going to be using this as a base instead of trying to use fusible interfacing on the inside. And as much as I love the strap on this wall hanging, I'm not really sure how I want to do the strap on this necklace, but I think I might be using some of this old cotton t-shirt for it. I'll figure that out later though. First, I have to iron all this fabric nice and flat and clean it up with a lint roller. And comparing the first version of this project, I know I prefer these thinner strips for it, so I'm going to try and avoid cutting wide strips like this one. And I'm trying to cut all of my strips to be less than a ½ inch wide, which isn't a problem because a lot of these are already the perfect width. And I sorted all my strips by length to make them easier to weave. But instead of jumping into weaving this time, I want to make a template for my necklace so I know it's the right size. So I drafted a really basic template and traced it onto the jacquard fabric for a base. I also cut out some of the t-shirt fabric in this shape because I like to have a softer fabric sitting against my skin on the bottom. That'll be used for the back side. And now that I have a base, a backing, and all my strips cut out, I can start weaving them together. And using this base will give me a better idea of how long my strips need to be and where I need to place them. I am using the exact same method to weave this necklace as I did my wall hanging in my previous attempt, so if you haven't seen that video already and want to learn more about weaving fabric, go check that one out. And that looks a lot better so far. And since I used a base rather than trying to add fusible interfacing this time, I can just add my backing straight on top and pin it all together. I have a hand sewing needle out because I think this would probably be a nightmare to wrestle into my machine. I'm going to sew through all layers along this bottom curved piece, but I need to leave room at the top to turn it inside out. So I'm going to peel back the backing and only baste the woven fabric strips to that stabilizing fabric in the middle. I am using the strong and reliable back stitch for this seam. And I did check about halfway through to make sure I sewed through all layers of fabric. This part was a bit finicky, but I was able to make it work. With everything sewn together, I can trim all these strips along the edge. And it's crucial to clip a very scant seam allowance on any curved edges so your curves don't pucker. And corners also need to be clipped. And if I basted everything together well, it should turn right side out pretty easily. And looking at it now, I think it would make a really cute little baguette croissant bag. So maybe I'll have to do that in the future. Maybe that's another project. But first I need to fold these open edges down and make sure everything is nice and flat. So it's time to take it to the iron and press, press, press. And now I can close this opening. So I'm going to turn it over to the back, make sure the edges are folded together, and seal it with a simple hand-sewn whip stitch. With the bib portion of my necklace done, the only thing I have left is to make the strap, which I'm going to do with my leftover pieces of scrap fabric here. And while I love this thick braided strap on my wall hanging, I don't think that's going to be terribly comfortable around my neck. So I'm going to use a different method for this strap. To create my strap, I tied the remainder of my strips together into one long strip, tied a slip knot on one end, and finger knitted the entire chain together to create a strap with a similar look as a braided strap. And I'm trimming some of the bulk out of the ends. And now I can attach one side of each strap to a side of my necklace. I opted for hand sewing on this part too. And it's done, you guys! This is the necklace I had envisioned when I made this. But I'm happy to have both of them. And weaving my fabric scraps to create this wall hanging ended up being a really good practice project to be able to create this necklace. This is perfect. It came out exactly the way I wanted it to the first time. Not everything you make is going to turn out how you originally wanted it to the first time you make it. Sometimes you just have to try again, like I did today. This is the cutest little bib necklace I've ever made, even though it's the only bib necklace I've ever made, because I'm not really wearing this one as a necklace. This is perfect, and I like that it's really simple after making it in all black fabrics. It's not too cluttered, and it won't clash too much with different colors with different clothes that I wear. I can wear it with pretty much any color that I want to wear it with, and I think this will be a really good, simple black accessory to add to anything that I want to wear it with in my closet. I love sewing with fabric scraps because it means I don't have to throw them out and I don't have to waste any money buying more fabric. And this is the perfect type of project for using up your old fabric scraps if you have a bunch lying around like I do. And this is a pretty great project for anybody who's trying to do the Sew Your Stash challenge like I am this year, or if you're trying to be more sustainable with your fabric in general and all of your sewing and crafting, then this is also a good project for that. And for more projects that you can make using your scrap fabrics, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you would give this necklace a like, make sure you give this video a like as well. And let me know what kind of projects you've made that didn't turn out quite right the first time, but maybe turned out right the second, third, fourth, fifth, however many times it took you to make them. Thank you so much for watching my video today, everyone. I will see you guys next week.